So this is week 5 sketchbook tour, and this is my finished product. This is the first still life that we did, and honestly, I did want to push myself to draw this, like maybe like fix things up a little bit, because to me this isn't done. Like the shadows over here need some work. I could have went back and fixed some things, but yeah, I wanted to challenge myself. I made the pear a little too fat, a little too short. There's a lot of problems that I see, me personally. Like, I made this too wide. Like, it's a little unproportional. I mean, it looks like the image, but if I wanted to make it better as a still life, I probably would have made this just a tad thinner because it's a little too wide. Everything's in the right place though. And uh, my favorite part of what I did is I identified this as the darkest dark, and I kind of used it as a reference for the rest of these. I also recognized that all of these objects right here were the same height, so I worked to make them the same height. And then also how far out the pear went over, like how much it spilled out over the cylinder right here, so that I can get how big it was. And I think my favorite thing that I did is that I kept it, I wanted to make the box look like how it did in real life, not just like a rectangular prism. I wanted to make it look like it was a box wrapped in paper, like it was like in real life. So I tried my best to do that. And because one of the things about this box is that you can see like the different folds and the different markings from like people touching it with graphite, which is, and then what I did is very, very light with an HB pencil. I went in and I added these little details, and then I smoothed them out and made them really light with my kneaded eraser, so that it could not, it's noticeable, but it's not super dark. So it looks purposeful, e even though like people were touching on the box in real life, like accidentally. Really dark markings. I think, um, even though I really enjoyed like rendering the fruit, even if it was like this, like rounded like this, I had a lot of problems with the sphere. I am not that great at drawing circles, so this was a bit of a struggle to make it proportional, but I'm really satisfied with how it came out, with the little like dents and scratches and markings on it. The different parts of the shadow I struggled with quite a bit to make it even. But honestly, it didn't, when I was working it out, and I was trying to get all the values to look like it did in the picture, which, to help me, I took the picture and then I put a mono filter over it, so it was in black and white. Uh, Honestly, like seeing everything laid out like this really, really helped me. So then I could go back, look at the picture, and see, compare things and change things around as I needed them to be, so that they made a little bit more sense. You can tell what things were, and what was different in value. Like right here, this section right here where you can see this face of the pyramid, it was darker originally, but then when I put the shadow right here, I noticed that these two values were a little too similar. And so when you would normally see the face of this face of the pyramid, even with the shadow right here, I had to go back and lighten it up so that you could still see it. I did have a really good time with this assignment, as challenging as it was. I think, honestly, the hardest part that I challenged myself to do was to draw the cloth of the table that the still life was sitting on right here. And what I did to get it look like this kind of gray color is, instead of like going over it with with a pencil and then blending it out, what I did instead is I took, my tortillions always have a little bit of leftover graphite. I went over this, and you could probably see it's a little uneven. I went over this with the leftover graphite on the tortillion, and I spread it everywhere, super light. And then I would go into certain sections where it was a little extra dark, and you can see I didn't do it completely successfully, where it was a little extra dark, and I would lighten it up, make certain areas darker, make certain areas lighter with the kneaded eraser until it looked as even as possible. And then I can add the details of the folds and the fabric on the table, so that you can see all the little details, even though the tablecloth itself was really white. Let me see if I can get a good overhead. But yeah, there's the finished product.